Hey guys, it's Brandon Miniman from Pocketnow.com, and this is a look at the hardware of the HP iPAQ Glisten, which runs on the AT&T network. This device is really targeted at the business user, the person that appreciates a nice QWERTY keyboard on the front, messaging, productivity. It's not so much targeted at the consumer who wants a large screen for a great multimedia experience. The Glisten can do multimedia, but with a smaller screen, it really doesn't make as much sense. So let's take a look at the device, starting with the top. It's really interesting to see the HP branding on a Windows mobile device. It's been a long time since HP has come out with an iPAQ, but hopefully this is a sign of things to come. In the past, they've made some really great hardware for Windows Mobile. Up here, we have a light sensor and a proximity sensor, and the proximity sensor will turn off the display when you're on a call to save on battery life. The screen is 2.5 inches diagonal, which is kind of small, but if you compare this to a BlackBerry or a Samsung Blackjack, it's about average for this type of device with a keyboard on the front. The resolution is only QVGA, so that's 240 down and 320 across. You really can't expect to have a higher resolution screen on a display that is so small, unless you're looking at a BlackBerry, for example. But for Windows Mobile, they wouldn't put VGA on a screen that is 2.5 inches. Let's take a look at these hardware buttons here. We have call start and call end, which are pretty flat, but they have buttons. They are buttons, so you can feel them when you press in on them. Here's a traditional D-pad, and it's nice to see a traditional D-pad. Really helps out a lot with one-handed usability, and the D-pad is raised enough to where you can feel for it without looking at it, which is great. There's an OK Select button in the center, and then a button to launch the start menu, and then an OK or back button right here. Let's take a look at this keyboard, and we thought that the keyboard was actually the same as the Motorola Q9H. In fact, they look almost the same, but they feel different. The keyboard on the Q9H is very clicky, listen. But on the Glisten, not so much. And we're not sure if that makes for a better typing experience or a worse typing experience. We're going to have the full review on Pocketnow.com talk about the keyboard. But so far, it seems like quite a good keyboard to have. Down here we have some AT&T branding. I don't know if you can see it, but it says no warranty down here because this is a sample pre-retail version. And on the top and bottom of the device we have this rubbery coating which extends all the way to the back, which makes the Glisten a non-fingerprint magnet. So you don't have to worry about getting fingerprints on this. It also feels very secure in hand thanks to this rubbery coating. So let's take a look around the device before we go back to the rear. Here we have a volume up and down rocker, which is surrounded by this sort of chrome strip, which is a nice touch. On the bottom we have nothing. On the other side we have micro USB for syncing and charging, and we have a nice 3.5mm headphone jack in case you want to load this up with MP3s and use it as a media player. And on the top we have two buttons. We have a really awkwardly placed standby button. So most standby buttons either occur somewhere around here or up here on the left. But on the Glisten, it's on the right. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Then we have a one-touch access button for Wi-Fi, which is quite neat. I think this comes from the Palm Trio Pro, which makes it easy to turn on Wi-Fi without having to go through settings. So it's a nice addition there. Now, there is a stylus on this device down here in the bottom, because this is a touchscreen phone, although it's a collapsible stylus, and it feels kind of flimsy. And the device is sensitive enough to where you don't really need the stylus unless you're looking at really small things on the screen, which may happen on this device. Back here's the camera, plus a speaker, and the speakerphone on this device is really fantastic. Let's take off the back battery cover, see what is back here. The battery is 1,590 milliamp hours, which is quite large for a device of this type. Unfortunately, the micro SD card cannot be replaced unless you take out the battery. That's a huge con. It's one thing to have the micro SD card behind the battery cover, but to have it so that you can't even replace it without moving the battery is kind of a shame. But again, this is not really targeted to be a multimedia device, so it's likely that the average person that buys a Glisten isn't going to be fumbling around with micro SD cards. So overall, the device feels solid in hand. It's small, but not too small. It's pocket friendly, and it feels high quality, which is great. We're looking forward to doing more tests on the HP Glisten. Coming up soon, we're going to have a software tour and go through the included software on this device. We'll be back soon with more on the HP iPAQ Glisten. That's it for now.